Assalamualaikum, Miss.
Walaikum Assalam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, fine. How are you, Miss?
Alhamdulillah. Okay, let's start our lecture. Our today's lecture is about the section 3, in which we will understand how we can maximize the effectiveness of human resource, in which we will study the methods to monitor and improve the employee performance. First of all, we will monitor the performance of our employee, and then we will discuss how we can improve the performance, and then we will discuss the effectiveness of reward system, how much the reward system is important,
Um,
what are the ways through which we can monitor the performance, and how we can improve the performance of our human resources. And then we will study what is the effectiveness of a reward system that we have to use inside our organizations. First of all, what is employee performance? Sometimes we are only talking about the quantitative work, how much work has been done by the employee in the form of performance, but in organization we are not only counting the words, we are also have to see that either the work is qualitative or not. So we have to consider both the quantity and the quality. So employee are the force that drives the company forward. Without employee, no company can go towards the success. So it should come as no surprise that daily performance of the workforce hugely influence the success or failure of a business. If they are not loyal and they are not doing their work, it is impossible to be succeed for an organization. So employee performance is how a member of staff fulfills the duties of their role, completes required tasks, and behaves in the workplace. Because in the office we have to do a teamwork, so if one or two person are not willing to work and they are pending their task, and we will not be able to complete any project without them. So everybody has to fulfill their duties, and also they have to behave properly within a team or within a office. So measurements of the performance include the quality and the quantity and the efficiency of work. If one is doing the work that is very qualitative, but he or she is taking too much time to do that work, we can say that the efficiency of that person is low, because we have to meet both. We have to meet the deadlines and we have to maintain the quality of our work. So we have to manage both. We have to manage our quality as well as our time. So working to improve the employee performance is an ongoing process. So every organization should consider the growth of their employee, because if they are investing on their employee, their company or their organization can go towards the growth. So this process involves the measurement, evaluation, and planning. We have to plan their growth, then we have to measure either we have achieved the goal that we have planned for the growth of our employee, and then we have to evaluate. Now, why we have to consider about the performance of our employee? To stay successful in today's market, business must find ways to maintain and bring out the best performance from their employees, because we are working in competitive environment, and if we are not providing the different product as compared to our competitors, we will not be able to survive in the market. So the basic or the backbone of any organization is the employee or the employees. So we have to focus on their performance. So not only does this help to hire, retain, and develop the best talent, but by helping staff to grow within their roles and responsibility, the company can build a pipeline of future leaders, because we can promote the persons at the management seats inside from the office. We don't have to hire the new persons for the new post or for important post inside our organization. So we can prepare our employees to be a leader. So when leaders monitor the performance of employees, they can paint a picture of how the business is running, because the business and the employees are relating with each other. So this not only helps to highlight what companies could be doing the present to improve their business, but this information also feds into the future growth plan. So we are not only assuming that we have to what we have to do in the coming month or in the coming week. We have to apply the goals that we have to achieve gradually. So we have to decide both type of growth for our employees. So placing a focus on employee performance does not just benefit the business, it helps the employee to reach their full potential. Every person has the talent, so we have to polish their talent so they can feel encouraged when they are working in any organization, so they will be loyal to that organization, while also improving overall performance, which can have positive effects on the morale and quality of the work produced. When they feel motivated and they feel themselves on a positive way towards their growth and their professional skills, they will do more qualitative work. So, lastly, but most importantly, when employees are underperforming, customer may be dissatisfied because the employees are handling the customers and they are producing the products and the services, they are providing the services. And if they are underperforming and they are not performing their duties well, they will not be able to satisfy the customers. And if the customers are not the satisfied persons, we will not be able to compete over competitors and get more business in the future. So, as a result, the entire business may be affected by the poor performance and struggle to reach their goals. Now, how we can measure the performance? Every role is different. Every person has a different things to do. Different services are provided by different employees. So we have to set a criteria through which we can understand the performance of each and every person. So we have to set the merits that measure the employee performance ultimately depend on the types of business the company and employees operate in. So in general, the main ways to measure the performance are quality of work, speed and efficiency, trust and consistency. The someone is working in the start when he or she has joined, he or she is doing work very well, but after some time he or she is not doing the work in a proper way. Now we will discuss these three matrices or ways to measure the performance one by one. Now these are also other ways: level of creativity. If there is something new have to do, how much creative a person is, amount of consistent improvement. We have to do the work for self grooming, customer and peer feedback, sales revenue generated, responsiveness to the feedback, percentage of tasks completed on time, being on time and on budget. Now we will discuss these one by one, these points. First one is quality of work. Although the quantity matters, but if the work has to be redone again and again, so the work done is not a better option. So we have to judge the quality of work that is done by the employee. So standard of work produce a key indicator of the performance. Are employees putting in maximum effort to ensure high quality results? So they have to put their maximum efforts. There can be human errors, but we can say that the person have to do their best according to their skills and according to their other things, so other talent and other qualities. So our performance objective being met, we have said that we can achieve the accuracy up to 90%. Either we have achieved that objective or not. So we have to set over objectives of our project. So quality of work provides the basis to analyze all other elements of their performance. So then we will check either they have completed their work at the time, at the specific time or not, what was the efficiency. So other things then will be started, we will start to measure. Now the next one is speed and efficiency, looking at how much employees accomplish in an average week, month or quarter. How does this match up your expectations? So we have assigned 20 tasks to our employee in 1 month, either he or she has completed or not. So we have to measure the speed of their work and efficiency. So we have to complete, as we discussed, we have to complete the work at time, but that work must be correct and accurate. So our deadlines meet, vastly improve on, or it is time wasted. sometimes the employee is not doing work and wasting his or her time in talking or in other activities. So we have to judge that either they are wasting their time or not. So efficiency is result of maximum output, at least at the least cost, or we can say that the maximum qualitative work in the less time. So this is vital to aware of within your company. So we have to judge the speed and efficiency. Now, level of creativity, the things that has to be done on the regular basis that are okay with some employees, but some employees are not showing the creativity, are not showing their internal skills. So we have to check the level of creativity. We have to assign the task that can boost their creativity or that can show their skills. So creativity is one of the most important points in evaluating employee performance, because if one is creative, they can work for their self growth. So how often did the employee question basic assumptions about a problem and come up with a new solution? So as I discussed, we have to provide the situation in which they can give us the new ideas. So did they think outside of the box and successfully take risk on their own? When you are providing any new work to your team, who is willing to own that work? So by keeping track of the incidents of creative, well informed risk taking, we can identify and reward high performers in a meaningful way. So we can judge who can be a leader in the future. Amount of consistent improvement. So someone has joined a company or organization, their efficiency was at the 30% or 40%. After 6 months or after 1 year, their performance was gone to the 70% or 80%. So we have to check how much amount of consistent improvement in the behavior of our employee. So we have to check the constant improvement, consistent improvement across the board is most important factor in the performance evaluation. Sometimes the at the start the employee is so motivated person, but after some time he or she is not doing any work in a better way or in a well mannered way. So no employee has capacity to truly excellent at every evaluation point on over quarterly review form. So everyone cannot be do a quality work 24 by 7. So sometimes there might be some problems. So, however, every employee has the opportunity to improve each day, month, quarter, and year. Sometimes at the start of their joining, they needs time, and after month or year, they have started a qualitative work. So the desire and effort to become better is most rewardable quality. So we have to check either they are interested in their work and they are trying or not. Customer and peer feedback. So we can judge the performance of our employees by the feedback of the customer in to whom they are dealing, are the persons who with they are working with, and the peers of that person. So an employee with good customer feedback, even one who is not making sales, can improve because they have the communication skill and they can convince the customers, but still we have to work on them. One who has negative feedback will mostly likely go down in the sales over time because the customer will not prefer to buy the things next in the next phase of the time. So remember that the customer can also be any internal peer who works with, for, or alongside this employee. So the customer can be a peer. So we have to judge the performance of employee by the feedback of both. Sales revenue generated, how much revenue is generated by that employee. So the revenue that each employee bring in on a monthly basis reflects on that individual's overall performance. Some organizations are also providing the bonuses and other things according to the revenue generated by the, are they are setting the percentage so that can boost the morale of the employee. So we can measure the performance by the revenue generated by a employees. So the majority of company is made up of sales representative, and they are measured by the total number of venues they signed up to be listed on oversight, which translates into the how much revenue is made from those venues. So we have to measure how much profit he or she has given towards the organization. Responsiveness to feedback. If someone is giving feedback, a manager is giving, a peer is giving the feedback, or a customer is giving feedback to an employee, either they are responding to that feedback and try to improve according to the feedback or not. So if an employee is doing something incorrectly, executive do not want to hear excuses or justification. So, however, executive also don't want staff member to blindly adjust to their comments. So we have to argue, but we have to rise a valid point. So ideal worker would take feedback and really think critically such that he understand why he is being asked to change. Either that is a positive change and he or she needs that change or not. Then he or she will apply that feedback or that judgment or that things to their work, or he has two-way conversation with executive or supervisor about what is working and what is not. So they have to do the discussions and try to understand to overcome their negative points. Percentage of tasks completed on time. Either he or she can manage the time or not. So each team member must maintain an up-to-date task list that they can use to monitor their deliverables and measure their progress. When evaluating the employee's performance, check their rate of completion and evaluation the quality of their task. We are not only checking either they have completed the task or not. Also, we have to check that either they provided that task was correct and accurate or not. So to ensure they are working on things that are in line with the growth of the company. Not completing the task is important. We have to do the task in a right way. Being on time and on budget. We go by delivering on time and on budget. Because we are not providing the expensive solutions, we have to check either the company can afford that things or not. So we track every project and deliverable and determine whether it is on time and on budget or not. We consider the person responsible time and time as a part of the budget, because in other words, we can say that time is money, so we have to manage the time as well as the budget. Now, how we can evaluate performance? We have judged the performance of our employee. Now we have to use the tools to evaluate the performance of our employee. We can give the points to our employees. Without proper evaluation of an individual employee performance, you may waste the valuable time and effort implementing improvement plans that do not begin to tackle and real problem. When we are giving the points towards our employees performance, we can also judge the reasons behind their negative performance, are there negative points, and then we will plan how we can improve the performance of our employee when we are evaluating the performance of our employee. So there are some popular ways through which we can evaluate the performance: 360-degree feedback, objective based performance, a twist on the SWOT, ranked performance on sales, self evaluation. Now we will discuss these one by one. First of all, 360-degree feedback. We have to collect the feedback from their peers. So, as the name suggests, this method takes a look at feedback, opinion, and assessment from a circle of people who is close to that employee or that person. This include the team members, supervisors, and others that employee works within the company. By going beyond what the direct manager sees, you are instead show a well-rounded view of the performance. So the person who are working with you can judge you more better than your manager. So the manager can collect the feedback from and all the persons who are working with you, and then the manager can evaluate or can see either that feedback is correct or not. Now, objective based performance. With this method, manager and employees work together to develop the performance goals and set the clear deadlines for the completion. Like we have started work on a project, we have set the objectives, and one team has to achieve the objective one team has to achieve the objective two. So the manager as well as the employee is setting the goals for the company and for the employee also. So when employees are involved in the process of creating their objective, they can see how their individual goals contribute to the larger company goals, so they can match or they can consider how much important the person is inside the organization. When they can realize that they can put more efforts for the growth of company, because if the company goes towards the success, the employee can also boost their knowledge, their skills, and as well as they can improve their lives also. So this creates more understanding of what needs to be done and why it is important. So we have to realize our employee how their work is important. So this method also help to increase the engagement and motivation for the employee, while making it very easy to define success and failure for the employer. So we are not only talking about the organization, we also have give some space towards the employees. So a twist on the SWOT, that means for performance evaluation it is best to swap weakness with the areas of development. We have to we have to replace our weaknesses with the positive points. So think of the opportunities. We have to, we have to take the advantage of competitive environment, that we are getting the opportunities from our weakness or from our weak areas or from our competition. Think of opportunities as future opportunities for the growth of your employee and their development within the company too. So starting whenever we have to discuss the performance of any employee, we have to start with the strength of that employee. We are not pinpoint the negative things inside the employee. So starting with the strength allows manager, but also importantly employees themselves, to say what they feel they are good at, then helping to indicate where employees might like to develop the further. So we have to tell them if they are adopting, they are good in sale, they are good in the completion of their task, but they have to improve their creativity to become a leader. So we have to motivate the person by starting their strength and then coming towards the improvements. So this method can also be great way to find out if the employee feels that anything about the business is holding them back, or if they feel they are lacking important resources. So, for example, by mapping out these different areas of performance, both the manager and the employee can work together to create a plan for the development. Then we are going towards the discussion. We can ask the employee why these things are not done, or what are the reasons behind these mistakes, or what are the reasons behind this weakness. Then manager as well as the employee can create a plan. Like sometime the employee needs the training, so we can plan a training for that employee to improve the performance. Now
Miss.
yes.
So basically, the performance sorry, the last one, a twist on the SWOT.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically means working on the weakness, which means the negatives, based on the employees, right? It's totally based on the employees only working on it, or the managers also can overcome the loopholes they're facing while running an
They both
organization.
are
It
working
depends
for
on
that.
both. Oh, okay, okay.
They work
All right.
together. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, ranked performances, performance on the scales. Now we are giving the points towards over employee. So a traditional method is using the numbered scale, such as 1 to 5. We can say that 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, or we are giving the numbers out of 5 or out of 10, and we are giving the ranks towards the employee performance to check either that is good, bad, or average performance. So these scales are commonly used as they are easy to understand, because these scales are measurable. So the measurable things are more convenient as compared to that we are providing the scenarios are, we are providing the things, are we are telling that that is missing, that is missing, so we are giving the numbers. So these scales are commonly used as they are easy to understand for both employee and for the manager, allow to easy comparison between the team members, either which one is better, because in the and we have to decide about the best performance, worst performance, so that will help, these skills can help us. So take little administration and can be adopted to any business needs. So manager or HR can set the criteria to be ranked, often including the behavior, ability, or projects completed, quality of the work. So different areas are different things to be considered when we are going towards the ranking of the performance of the employee. Now the self evaluation. In this method, you given a performer towards an employee, and you tell them the questions through which they can judge their performance, either they are on a right track or not. So the employee just judges their own performance against the questions set by the employer or by the manager. So this method is the most useful when used alongside a verbal performance review. So, although some employee may find it difficult to know where they stand, because sometimes we are not able to understand what are the negative points in us. So, when you will start doing that, uh, the employee at least can think of their own performance, and what you think will find some interesting points to discuss in the meeting, then they can discuss about themselves. So this method also help employees to understand what the performance review will look at, which can ease any concerns, so they can judge that which thing to be look after when they has to be judged by any employer. Know how we can manage the performance, or in other words, how we can improve the performance. So performance management is an ongoing process. We have to plan, and then we have to do the trainings, then we have to evaluate, then again if there is any lacking behind, then we have to plan, and then we have to do the trainings and etc. So we have to do the planning and we have to do the implementation at every step. So that is the ongoing process between a manager and the employee, which is used to maintain and improve the performance of a workforce and support accomplishment of the planned objectives of the company. So the company directly refers towards the performance of the employee. So it helps companies become more successful and stay ahead of their competitors, because we have the best team as compared to our competitors. That team can provide the creative solutions, or that can provide the different things as compared to the market. So it involves measuring, reporting, and managing progress to improve the performance at both individual and on the corporate level. Now, right performance management technique. The performance management technique typically from to address the following. We have to monitor the performance, then we have to progress check, review, and summaries. So we have to make a documentation in which we have to list down different points. Setting expectations. What thing we will going to check? What are our expectations? Either the person has to do 80% of the work, 90% of the work, or they have to manage the budget, or they have to manage the time, they have to manage the quality. So we have to set over expectations, offering incentives for recognition, reward, and to help to tackle the poor performance. We have monitored that a person is not doing well. So, what thing we have to do? Either we have to do the training, we have to give the rewards to motivate that person, how we can handle the poor performance. So, continued professional development, we have to do the trainings, conference, and the coaching. So, these are the techniques through which we can manage the performance of our employees. What is the process? The process has the five key elements for the success: planning and goal setting. Like we have planned that in a week or in the month, we can take the performance of our employees from 50% to 80%. That is our goal. We have to achieve the 80%. And we have to do the planning by following these steps. We have to do the trainings, we have to give the incentives, we have to give the percentage, that is over planning. And by doing these tasks we can achieve the goals. So goals must be set, and how these goals will be evaluated must be made clear. So how we can measure the goal, either the goal has achieved or not. So we have to mention in which time frame we have to achieve these goals. Then management and employee involvement. For reviews to work, employee need to know how that process is to be done. So they can be involved and they can engage themselves in that process. So employee needs to be engaged in the process, and that it is a two-way process between the manager and the employee, because both have to work for the employee. Employee itself himself must be motivated, and manager must has to put the efforts on the employees. So monitoring and feedback. When we have done the work, then we have to monitor and give the feedback towards our employee. So by doing that we can allow to tackle of an individual's performance and provides them with the ownership of their development. So it also allows an opportunity to provide help and support if the employee needs this to help to achieve their goals. So whenever we are providing the feedback, or in other words, we can say that we are guiding our employees how they can improve their performance. So feedback intervals could be on monthly basis, or on the after the 4 months, after the 6 months, on the annually basis. Development and the improvement. When we have identified the weak areas, now we have to work for the development and work for the improvement. So following monitoring of the employee, further improvement and development will be needed to be encouraged. So an employee on the target to meet their goals should be encouraged to exceed, so we can do their performance on a continue state. If we are not giving any encouragement to a good employee, he or she will not continue the qualitative work in the future. So we have to encourage to exceed and go beyond the goal that was set. So reward and compensation. So for employees to continue to achieve and develop, there needs to be some kind of encouragement to them to do this. This include the salary increase, bonus, shares in the business, extra holidays, and the promotions towards that employee. Now, these are the top performance management techniques. Trainings utilize feedback, key performance indicators and matrices, performance appraisals, management by the objectives, balanced scorecards, and personal development plans. Now we will discuss these one by one. The first one is training. Every person need training, because in today's age the things are improving day by day. The technology is developing in the and new technology is coming in the market on the daily basis or on the monthly basis. So we have to train our employee. Every time we have to do the trainings. So after some intervals or after some time, when we are going to provide the new services, or we are going to do the work on the new project, or we have to do the work by using the new machines, we have to train our employees. Then we can set the expectations from the employees. So employee training and development program are essential to success of a business worldwide, because they have to drag the organization towards the success. So not only do these programs offer opportunities for the staff to improve their skill set, but also for the employer to enhance the employee productivity, because we are teaching them the new tools, new techniques. We are giving them the scenarios in which they can polish their skills and they can improve the company culture. Because if our employee is good, the performance of the employee is good, they are giving this us the productivity towards the organization, the organization will be go towards the growth. So considering the costly prospect of employee turnover, companies are seeking way to keep employee on board, because employee turnover, if the employee turnover is high, that is a negative point of a company, because we have to hire the new person, then we have to give the trainings, they have to took time to adjust in that organization. So we have to improve the performance of our old employee, as compared to that we are hiring the new employees. So training and development are important to reduce the employee turnover. Now, utilize the feedback. If an employee is underperforming, they may not know it, because sometimes he or she is doing their work at their best level. But when we are telling them that thing is missing from their work, they can consider about that area and they can work on that area. So, a meeting should be held to identify a possible cause for their underperformance and the solution to help that employee. We are not only passing the judgment to that employee. We have to ask why that performance is under the decided scale. So then we will help the employee how they can improve their performance. So when giving feedback to an underperforming employee, it is a vital that manager does not just give negative feedback. We always start with a positive feedback, and first we will encourage and then we will go towards the improvements. Then we will continue to do good things, and managers need to let underperforming employee know what their strengths are, so we can motivate them. Feedback needs to be done regularly, not on the yearly basis. We have, when we see any lagging, we have to tell the employee and we have to discuss, not on the yearly reviews, as this can